Hello, this is Eleanor with Audible Local Ledger. Today is Tuesday, June 10th, and I'll be reading some stories from the Fall River Reporter. Our first headline: Community comes together to support family of Brockton 1-year-old who passed away, by Ken Pava. Prayers and support have been pouring in after a young life has been cut far too short. Nyla Montero of Brockton died on Friday at just under 2 years old. Thousands of condolences poured in to parents Antonia Pyers and Wilson Montero, who described their precious angel in her obituary as a bright, vibrant child full of life, laughter, and light. She adored playing, smiling, and especially enjoyed watching Coco Melon, which always brought a sparkle to her eye. A GoFundMe fundraiser created by Nala's father has raised nearly $13,000 as of this writing. He gave more insight into who his daughter was. Nyla was just 1 month away from turning 2 years old, a beautiful baby girl full of light, love, and sweetness. She had the purest heart and the gentlest spirit. Even at her young age, she was so thoughtful, always saying thank you and sorry at just the right moments. Her kindness touched everyone around her, and she was deeply loved by her entire family. A cause of death was not revealed. Nyla's visitation will be held Thursday, June 12th, from 5 to 8 p.m. at George Lopes Funeral Home, Brockton, 647 Main Street. The funeral mass will take place on Friday, June 13th at 10 a.m. at St. Edith Stein Parish, 71 East Main Street in Brockton. Interment will be on Friday, June 13th at 11:30 a.m. at Melrose Cemetery, 88 North Pearl Street, Brockton. Our next headline: 30-year-old registered sex offender to face decades in prison after repeated sexual acts with 12-year-old, orchestrating a murder-for-hire plot to silence her, by Ken Pava, Providence. A 30-year-old registered sex offender convicted in federal court for enticing a 12-year-old girl and orchestrating a murder-for-hire plot to silence her was sentenced to 35 years in prison, announced Acting U.S. Attorney Sarah Miron Bloom. Chandler J. Cardente previously confessed to a federal judge that he lured the girl into multiple sexual encounters and later plotted her murder to prevent her testimony. Court records show that in summer 2021, posing as a 17-year-old, he contacted the victim via a messaging app, expressing interest in sexual contact. In December 21, he met her near her middle school, drove her to various Rhode Island locations, and engaged in repeated acts, leading to his arrest and detention at the Adult Correctional Institutes. When incarcerated, Cardente spoke by phone with an accomplice, expressing his desire for the victim's murder. In a conversation with an undercover officer, he stated she needed to end up dead as a witness, offering $200 in cash and $1,500 in equipment. On March 20th, 2025, Cardente pleaded guilty to enticement of a minor, committing a felony as a registered sex offender, and interstate murder for hire. U.S. District Court Senior Judge William E. Smith sentenced him to 420 months in prison and 30 years of supervised release, with the sentence effective from December 11, 2021, accounting for prior detention time. Cardente faced both federal and state charges. On May 1st, before the Superior Court Justice David Cruz, he pleaded nolo contendere to 6 counts of first-degree child molestation, receiving a 60-year sentence with 35 years to serve and 60 years of probation. The federal case was prosecuted by Assistant U.S. Attorney Miland M. Shah, with investigations by Homeland Security Investigations, Warwick, Cranston, and Burrillville Police Departments, Rhode Island State Police, Rhode Island Depression Investigation, Acting U.S. Attorney Bloom, the Rhode Island Attorney General, for aiding the federal prosecution. This case falls under Project Safe Childhood, a national initiative led by the U.S. Attorney's offices and the DOJ's Child Exploitation and Obscenity Section to combat child sexual exploitation and abuse, coordinating federal, state, and local efforts to apprehend offenders and rescue victims. Next headline: Markey says he'd fight Trump over National Guard deployment in Massachusetts, by Mike Silva, and by Allison Kuznits. Days after President Donald Trump deployed 2,000 National Guard troops in California to respond to immigration enforcement protests, U.S. Senator Ed Markey said he would oppose any similar tactics in Massachusetts, which has already come under fire for its sanctuary policies. If Trump sought to nationalize the National Guard here in Massachusetts or to send in the Marines, I would fight Trump every single step of the way because it would be one further step towards an authoritarian dictatorship in our country, Markey told reporters Monday after speaking at a New England Council breakfast. While California Governor Gavin Newsom objected, Trump sent in the National Guard as protests escalated around Los Angeles amid federal immigration raids. The president had threatened on social media the federal government would intervene if Newsom and L.A. Mayor Karen Bass can't do their jobs and get the clashes under control. What Trump is trying to do in California is wrong. It's authoritarianism on steroids, Markey said. We have to, here in Massachusetts, make sure that he understands that we are not going to tolerate having the authority of Governor Healy or Mayor Wu or any of our local officials undermined by his authoritarian techniques to nationalize the National Guard or any other national military body. The White House said in a statement Monday that Trump was stepping up where Democrats won't, and that California leaders should be thanking President Trump for stepping up and leading where they refused, and for ridding their streets of criminal, illegal immigrant killers, rapists, and gangbangers. Labor unions and advocates held an emergency solidarity rally outside Boston City Hall on Monday to call for the release of David Huerta, the president of SEIU California, who was arrested during a protest in L.A. It's important to speak the truth, and I support the calls to make sure that we are calling out when unconstitutional behavior is happening, Mayor Michelle Wu said ahead of the rally when asked whether the event could bring unwarranted attention to the city. Trump's border czar has threatened he'd bring hell to Boston, and he visited Massachusetts in March as federal agents arrested 370 individuals. Democratic governors, including Governor Maura Healey, issued a statement Sunday calling Trump's National Guard deployment an alarming abuse of power. It's important we respect the executive authority of our country's governors to manage their National Guards, and we stand with Governor Newsom, who has made it clear that violence is unacceptable and that local authorities should be able to do their jobs without the chaos of this federal interference and intimidation, the statement said. Our next headline: ICE Boston arrests MS-13 member who illegally entered Texas, charged by Massachusetts State Police in southeastern Massachusetts, by Ken Pava. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, in collaboration with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, arrested a 24-year-old Salvadoran national illegally present in the U.S. and identified as an MS-13 gang member. On May 14, 2025, ICE Enforcement and Removal Operations Boston, alongside ICE Homeland Security Investigations New England agents and FBI Boston, apprehended William Alberto Villalobos Melendez in Brockton. He has been unlawfully in the U.S. for nearly 9 years, said Patricia Hyde, acting field office director for ICE ERO Boston. As a confirmed member of a violent transnational gang, he endangers Massachusetts residents. ICE Boston will not tolerate threats from gang members to our communities and will continue prioritizing public safety by targeting criminal aliens in New England. U.S. Border Patrol detained Villalobos on October 11, 2016, after he illegally crossed near Hidalgo, Texas, without proper admission or inspection. U.S. Border Patrol issued him a notice to appear before a Department of Justice immigration judge on June 12, 2019. A DOJ immigration judge ordered his removal to El Salvador. On March 13, 2025, Middleborough, Massachusetts State Police charged Villalobos with unlicensed motor vehicle operation and using an electronic device while driving. Next headline: Portsmouth police give update on structural collapse that killed teen, seriously injured several others, by Ken Pava. Portsmouth, Rhode Island. Portsmouth police have issued an update concerning a fatal incident at a graduation gathering over the weekend that killed a local teen. According to Major Mike Morse, at approximately 5:30 p.m. on Saturday, officers from the Portsmouth Police Department responded to 35 Power Street for a report of a structural collapse with multiple injuries. Upon arrival, officers joined personnel from the Portsmouth Fire Department already on scene. The incident involved a concrete landing located at the top of an exterior stairway on the north side of the building, which led to the second-floor entrance of the Portuguese American Club. The landing detached from the building and collapsed downward, ultimately settling perpendicular to the ground and trapping two juveniles beneath it, a 15-year-old female and a 17-year-old female, both from Portsmouth. Tragically, the 15-year-old juvenile lost her life as a result of the collapse. The 17-year-old remains in critical condition at the hospital. In addition to this tragic loss, 3 individuals that had been standing on the landing sustained injuries. A 19-year-old female resident of Little Compton was treated and released from the hospital. A 49-year-old female resident of Maryville, Indiana, remains hospitalized with serious injuries, and a 46-year-old male resident of Portsmouth suffered a minor injury and was not hospitalized. Moore stated that out of respect for the privacy of the families, the name of the deceased juvenile has not yet been released. Similarly, the names of those injured are being withheld during their ongoing recovery. The Portsmouth Police Detective Division is currently investigating the incident to determine whether any criminal factors were involved. The Rhode Island Attorney General's office is assisting with the investigation. The criminal investigation by the Detective Division is separate from the review being conducted by the building official and the town planner. The club issued a statement on Sunday. It is with heavy hearts and great sadness that we acknowledge this unthinkable tragedy that has befallen our community. The Portsmouth Portuguese American Citizens Club has always taken pride in providing a venue at which our community can congregate and celebrate. Words, neither written or spoken, can express the sorrow with which we are all stricken. Our thoughts and prayers are with all involved and affected. This tragedy has shaken us all to the core. We would like to express a debt of gratitude to our first responders and law enforcement in the town of Portsmouth and neighboring communities. Next headline. Former Fall River, Westport, Somerset, and Swansea teacher passes away. Community coming to aid of firefighter husband and 2 children. By Ken Pava. A community is coming together to help a Fall River family when they need it most. 48-year-old Dora D'Souza of Fall River, wife of David D'Souza, passed away on Wednesday of brain cancer. An obituary stated that Dora was an elementary school teacher for many years in Fall River, Westport, Somerset, and Swansea, including Espiritu Santo Parochial School. She enjoyed socializing with family and friends and loved picture-taking and making memories through trips, outings, and play dates with the kids. According to a GoFundMe fundraiser organized by the Fall River Firefighter Union, the D'Souzas were married for 15 years. David is a Fall River firefighter, and the fundraiser is being launched to help with funeral, burial costs, medical bills, and the needs of their 2 children. Dave has spent his life running toward the call when others need his help. Today, we're asking our community, friends, and fellow first responders to rally around him in his time of need. Dora's services were held on Monday morning. Next headline. Bolo leads to highway chase by Massachusetts State Police. Driver exits vehicle, jumps into backyard pool in Attleboro. By Ken Pava. Massachusetts State Police have issued an update on an incident that took place on Monday morning. According to Massachusetts State Police spokesperson Tim McGurk, at approximately 8:20 a.m., State Police initiated a motor vehicle pursuit when a trooper observed a vehicle on Interstate 495 South that was the subject of a bolo, be on the lookout, from Northborough Police. The operator attempted to evade State Police and continued from Interstate 495 South to Interstate 95 South. State Police terminated the pursuit when the vehicle exited Interstate 95 South at Exit 4B in Attleboro. A short time later, Attleboro Police and troopers assigned to the Foxborough Barracks located the vehicle circling a nearby residential neighborhood. Eventually, the operator drove her car around a house on West Street, exited the vehicle, and jumped in an in-ground pool in the backyard where she was apprehended without further injury or incident. The operator is identified as Shanna Tognorelli, 43, of Franklin. She is expected to be arraigned in Milford District Court today. As a reminder, you're listening to Audible Local Ledger with stories from the Fall River Reporter for June 10th, 2025. Well, that's all we have time for today. Thank you for tuning in.